with this album, the guitar work has been a lot more challenging, not only to play but to write as well, because as soon as you've written one, you realise that you've got to keep that level up, and the guitar work has been such a step up from One Child's Game that was a lot more laid back and more based around the keyboards, whereas this is a lot more based around the guitar and the riffs and the harmonies, and there's so many more harmonies, so many more different time signatures that we have to think about. And when it comes to writing them, I have to draw on all the things I've learned over this whole time of Sirius to try and come up with the pinnacle of what I can deliver so far. And also having new members of the band who are settling in really well, it means I can write a lot more daring things than I've written in the past, and things that I was afraid of doing, you know, a year or so ago, are becoming possible now, and hopefully that will keep continuing as we get tighter and tighter as a band. I think we wanted to base this album more around riffs than the last one. I think the last one was more based around melody as such, but we realised that we could do both and have decent melodies, but at the same time have, you know, the killer guitar riffs that we got in Mirror Figures. It's made a big difference having two guitarists on this one as well, because then the songs can be written for two guitarists, knowing that we can put the harmonies in and we can do different parts, which when I was writing for just myself on the guitar, it kind of limited some of the things that we could do, because you needed the bulk as well as the riff. So obviously you can't do that as easily with one guitarist. Yeah, I mean, One Child's Game originally, when it was in its writing process, was really, again, still based around one guitar, whereas Dice of Fate was based around two.
Mm-hmm. And so the whole sound changes, the whole dynamic, you get a much fuller sound, round sound, a deeper sound. Yeah.
When we took Perry on, I don't think Jake initially said to you, do you fancy doing some rhythm work for Reign of Sirius? And you kind of expected chord, and then when you came to his first rehearsal, you were quite shocked. You were scared when you heard the songs for the first time, because there was a lot of, especially in the stuff from Mirror Figures, that we were starting to do, like Dice of Fate.
It was a nightmare.
Yeah.
It was a literal nightmare.
But he's one of those people where I can give you something one week and you'll be like, I'm not getting this, and then he'd come back the next rehearsal and he's nailed it, he can play it live.
Yeah, I surprised myself. I didn't expect to be able to even play a guitar well enough to be in a band, let alone play riff-based stuff like I do. It's certainly made me improve in such a short period of time. I've had a guitar since I was 17, and I've never progressed so much on an instrument as I have in the past year, being in just by being shown this style of music, being expected to play the way we have to play.
Sort of dropped in the deep end.
It's not your standard rock and roll band, chord, strut around a little bit. You really have to put the effort in, you really have to learn to.
But I think also being in the studio, like when you think you can play your songs well, you come to the studio and you realise how messy you are, and it's so hard to get. It's 10 times harder than it is on stage, because on stage you've got those imperfections, whereas in the studio you can't get away with it. We found a level of consistency where what we did on the last album was we did one song at a time, all the instruments. By the end of the day, the song was finished, the whole song. Whereas on this album, what we've done is we've always organised the songs into categories and then tackled them separately and differently. So the first 4 that we've recorded are the more heavy guitar-based ones that we need a much leveler, much more consistent level on. And we've done them all together. So we've done all the drums for the first 4 songs all together, all the guitar work together, and we found it quite challenging to do 4 songs in one go, where basically we've sat down with our guitar and we're not done until 4 songs later, and it's really tiring.
Psychologically exhausting.
I mean, you did it yesterday.
Yeah, I'm still tired.
Yeah.
It's such a drain on you, and the concentration is always there. It's constantly on. You know, you're not going to make a mistake and get away with it. If play the whole riff correctly, and the last note is a little bit bum. Cut and do again.
You got one in that, the third one was right.
Right.
Did we get that right then?
Oh, I forgot to hold it! I'm too excited about it. I never hit bitches.
Yay! I did it right! Do the rest of the song!
That's okay, that is.
On this album, the bass has had a bigger part to play, as have I. I've been able to sort of do my own thing, rather than following what the guitars were doing, which was what I was doing a lot on the last album. Bass has been able to be more of a prominent instrument brought to the forefront. I've had my own sort of little prominent parts in songs where it's kind of just come down to just keyboard and bass, or just drums and bass. Because the bass has become such a prominent instrument, I've had to overcome my own issues with my confidence in playing. Been able, instead of just being able to hide behind the guitars and follow what they're doing, I've had to take that step forward, which is something that I did struggle with for a while, but I have slowly overcome. I wasn't too happy with the sound on the last album. On the bass, there was a couple of songs where I literally went into the studio, plugged in and played, and it just didn't sound how I like my bass to sound. It was very poppy and tinny. It was very rushed, it felt. On this album we've been able to take a lot more time with recording the bass, and it's made a real difference, and I feel a lot more confident that the end product will be much better.
Got the first bit right, second bit we need to be right on it.
Charlie today is finishing off her bass parts for Mirror Figures. Yeah. This is the last couple of parts now, and believe it or not, she is actually 8 months pregnant.
Bump a bit in the way.
Trying to get trying to get the bass over the bump is interesting.
Yeah, he keeps kicking it out of my way.